Hey traders, let's take a moment to thank and feature one of our top sponsors, FX2 Funding. If you're looking to get funded, listen up. FX2 is offering traders the chance to trade with up to $200,000 in simulated capital and receive up to 85% of their results. If you're interested in getting started, use the link being dropped in the chat or the link down in the description below. If you pass the evaluation, you'll receive your fee back and gain access to your new account. FX2 allows traders access to a wide range of assets and allows traders to hold their trades over the weekend. FX2 is giving A1 Trading Show fans 15% off the evaluation fee if you use promo code A1Trading15. So if you'd like to learn more, again, use the link being dropped in the chat or the link down in the description below and use code A1Trading15 at checkout for a discount on any of their evaluations. Now back to the show.
All right. Good morning, guys. Welcome back to another live stream. Thank you for being here. We've got a big one here on the horizon today. We've got CAD CPI. Let me fix my screen. I adjusted it. Hold on. There we go. Yeah. Adjusted it because I was filming something in my office. Had to adjust the screen a little bit. Hope you're all doing well. Thank you for being back here. We've got CAD CPI here this morning. So for my friends who trade CAD currency crosses, this could be useful. Also, by the way, this usually, when we get into economic data that's not just the US, I should clarify that oftentimes it still matters a lot to the overall picture of markets. So like, for example, CAD CPI has impacts on gold because even though the Canadian central bank is nowhere near, the Bank of Canada is nowhere near, the size and influence that the Federal Reserve is, it still has influence over what's happening in terms of a broader regime in terms of markets. So what I mean by that is that if you see, for example, central banks, whether it be Canada, the ECB, the US, if they are all seeing high levels of inflation, usually there's some crossover, there's some synergy, there's some correlation, if you will, between central banks. So if we see some hot inflation out of Canada, it could be, of course, something that is a bigger theme rather than just something solo to Canada. So with today's live stream, we'll be taking a look at, of course, some CAD crosses. We'll take a look at the gold market, so on and so forth. Here, as we get started today, I should mention, look at gold. Gold is actually making a pretty substantial move higher here this morning. And interesting to see that. We're kind of used to seeing gold just go down every day recently, but now seeing a little bit of a bounce. That dollar index is coming down here this morning. You do see 104 coming back into play. US 30 sinking lower overall. The S&P 500 still kind of trending lower. NASDAQ trending lower, but found a little bit of a bounce. We'll see if that one can turn into something more here today. First of all, I just want to say thank you to everybody who is here with me live. Let me know where you're watching the stream from, what country from, what part of the world are you from? I'm from currently Atlanta, Georgia. If you guys aren't familiar already, we're based out of Atlanta, Georgia. We got an office here and a team total of about 10 people, some remote, some in person, that make these streams and everything we do at A1 possible. So there's a little context to your day. Let's get into some markets. So I'm going to switch over to my one chart at a time view. By the way, we see some people from Romania, India, South Africa, Philippines, LA, Pakistan, South Africa, Sri Lanka, Philippines. Very cool to see. Canada, Australia. Very cool. Awesome. Yeah. Anyways, guys, we're going to jump into some charts here. I want to take a look at the dollar index first, as it is coming down here this morning. So we see the dollar index coming down and arguably sitting at a pretty key level of support. If we look left, this is a daily chart, by the way. The daily chart shows us big resistance around this level, around 104, right? We briefly broke above it. We retested and sort of solidly found support at this level previously. This boost to the upside, this was CPI, right? So CPI came out hotter than expected and strengthened the dollar pretty good. And now the question is, are we going to get a repeat response at this level of support, right? We're sitting at 104 again. Are we going to get a push off here from the US dollar? We'll have to see. My view, overall conditions still look bullish until something really changes with this. We had hot PPI, hot CPI. The inflationary stats that came out showed strong stubbornness in terms of inflation. Now, I should also add too, we have had strong jobs in the US. The job market has been pretty dang resilient. And as you know, as you likely know, strong jobs usually indicate a relatively strong economy. So that's why, generally speaking, I am still bullish on the dollar at these levels. I think we may be getting one more pullback before a push higher. And if I'm wrong about that, then I will be the first one to admit that I'm wrong about that if we can't hold this level of support. I think we should hold support here. And if we don't, I will say I am wrong, and I will cut any sort of trades or losses that need to be taken. Hopefully that makes sense, but that's my stance on the US dollar. Now, one pair that we should definitely take a look at ahead of this CAD CPI news number that's coming out in just a little bit is the dollar against the Canadian dollar specifically. So this is a daily chart. We've seen this thing kind of trending up overall in recent times with the dollar strength somewhat returning. All right, you've had this upward trajectory for the dollar CAD. The question will be today, if you get, by the way, so CAD CPI, how is this going to impact the chart? Well, let's break that down for a second. If CAD CPI comes in hot, it's going to strengthen the CAD, right? Which would weaken the dollar. So we would see if strong, hot inflationary numbers come out, we could see a trend lower form. And if we get CAD CPI cool, right, inflation coming down, then it's expected the Canadian Central Bank or the Bank of Canada may be looking to cut rates sooner. So we can then say the opposite would be true. In that case, the dollar CAD would push higher. Now, as always with these news events, I don't claim to know what these events are going to print. Like, I don't know the CAD CPI number. I'm not going to try and forecast or predict what that number is going to be. What I am going to do, however, is watch it to see if there's potentially setups that form following. The Edge Finder currently, in terms of CAD pairs, has CAD CHF as a possible bullish setup to watch out for. CAD Yen, same thing. So we do have some CAD pairs that we could watch here today as possible day trading or swing trading catalysts, right? We have CAD Yen, CAD Swiss. And if we flip this around, we take a look at the more sell side, you can see we don't really have anything in the Canadian dollar section. So really, it seems like CAD Swiss and CAD Yen are the ones to look at if you're watching CAD pairs. So let me pull those up just so we can discuss them. We'll take a look at CAD Yen. A lot of traders love this pair. CAD Yen has been moving with a lot of momentum higher. This is actually a really pretty strong uptrend that we're seeing form here. So CAD Yen continues to push higher. We've had this key level of resistance that was broken. So check this out. So let me get right here. So this level of resistance was broken. So if you get a pullback, this could actually be an interesting play. This is a daily chart. So the idea being, if you do get some form of a pullback, this would be a longer term play. But in terms of shorter term setups, let's go down one level further. We'll go take a look at the 4-hour chart and see if there's anything here. So again, momentum is favoring to the upside. The Edge Finder is also giving us a bullish read. And I'm also bullish on oil based on the Edge Finder as well. Why based on the Edge Finder? Well, the Edge Finder is looking at all sorts of market data and generating bullish and bearish signals for each category. Like today, we're going to get more inflation data. So the Edge Finder will update automatically with that new inflation data from Canada in terms of inflation scoring. Right now, inflation seems to be relatively strong for Canada, right? High. So that's going to create currency bullishness. So that's why we're getting CAD Swiss, CAD Yen as possible setups here for us. So we'll watch this one. CAD Yen is an interesting one in terms of setups on the lower time frames. Going in on the 4-hour chart, let's zoom in a little bit here and we can take a closer look at this currency pair. For my currency traders today, we're doing lots of currencies. Let's see where we're at with this. So pretty key level support here. If you do get another retest of this area, this could be interesting. Again, this is CAD Yen. We're looking at a 4-hour chart. Price looks strong right now, but we'll see how things come out with the news. We've got about 5 minutes to go before CAD CPI does kick in, which could be, like I said, some volatility here for currency traders. I believe this is a 38.2% retracement. Let's see if that is correct. So straight here to here. Yep, that's a 38.2% retracement. So if you do get a double back into this range, again, if you are a bull like me, that would be potentially an area of value to maybe get on the bullish side. So I'll watch this one, but CAD Yen, kind of interesting here today. CAD Swiss was the other one on our list. So let's just take a quick look at CAD CHF and see if there's anything here. So CAD CHF, again, another uptrend. Here's the daily chart. Daily chart looks pretty strong, right? You had this overall downward trend that reversed here sort of beginning of the year, and now trending overall to the upside, though very kind of grindy, slow trend to the upside here. Maybe we can find something a little bit better on the 4-hour chart. So I'd say this market is bullish overall for me, right? So if I draw in this zone, this would be kind of your key spot, because what made this the key spot? Well, you had resistance here, and a huge breakout at that level. That's what I usually look for in terms of simple technical signals. Remember, on this channel, we do not get deep and complicated with technical analysis. Technical analysis is meant to be simple. It's meant to be easily observed and easily understood. If it's not easy and very simple, it defeats the whole purpose. The whole idea behind technical analysis is that it is a confirmation bias, right? Everybody sort of is doing it and seeing the same things, and that's why it can potentially work. That's the whole point. Do me a favor, Snake Pal, please don't spam the chat. If you spam the chat, I will make sure not to do your request, because again, that just ruins the chat for everybody else, and I'm not going to reward you for that. So please don't do that. Anyways, taking a look here, in terms of CAD Swiss, this level of support would be considered significant because of, again, the V sort of movements that have happened at this level. 65.10, 65.15 is about where I'm talking about. This big break here, and then we've traded sideways recently. If you're a bull, again, you have the idea of a potential break and retest, or a retest of this support level while still in a range. Now, you might be the kind of person that says, well, I don't trade ranges. Then, hey, you know what? Maybe you wait for either a breakout to the downside or a breakout to the upside, but totally up to you, however you like to trade. Let's take a look back at dollar CAD. It is the biggest of the currency pairs here to talk about in relationship to the CAD. We'll have coverage here on the CAD. In terms of dollar CAD, I don't have any strong bias here. The main reason for that, let me see if I can find, there's dollar CAD. Dollar CAD is getting a neutral reading on the edge finder. It's because the Canadian dollar looks somewhat strong, but so does the US dollar, right? Economic reads have been really strong out of the US, and you've also had some strength in terms of inflation for Canada. So we get a mixed sentiment. That is why the edge finder is printing neutral. The power of the edge finder, guys, is that it takes into account lots of different data points, and has kept me out of some trades that I'm like, oh, I really want to join this. And then I look at the edge finder's confirmations, and it doesn't give me any solid footing. And I say, oh, well, let me step out of the way. I can't tell you how much money I have saved myself from getting overly bullish or overly bearish. And then I look at the edge finder and it's like neutral. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, we're not getting enough here, enough of a fundamental trend to really take those trades. That has been huge. By the way, we'll drop really quick while we're waiting here, a link to get a trial of the edge finder. If you'd like 30 days, you can click this link. We've got 30 seconds to go, by the way. Do this real quick. The top setups, if you want access, again, you get 30 days. Click this link. This is where you can apply for that. You can do it right after the news if you'd like, but we'll come back to that in just a moment. Let's watch the dollar CAD here. We'll switch over to a 15-minute chart just so we can keep an eye on this one. About 5 seconds to go for CAD CPI breaking news. And there it goes. CAD, dollar CAD shot up here right on time. Big push there. Look at that. It actually came out almost early and immediately shot to the upside. This would arguably be lower than expected inflation out of Canada. Let's take a look and see if that is in fact the case. Dollar CAD again shooting up higher here this morning. And there it is. CAD CPI came out cooler than expected. Again, 3.4% trim CPI compared to 3.6, 3.3 median compared to 3.6. And so basically all three metrics showing cooling inflation out of Canada. This is, of course, going to take out some of the strength to the Canadian dollar. We probably see things like CAD yen pulling back on this news. Let's take a look at that. There's CAD yen selling off, as we mentioned. So take a look at the 4-hour chart. We mentioned this 38.2% retracement, but this news changes the game a little bit, and we'll have to watch to see how price closes on this 4-hour chart. But this news, again, if you understand fundamentals, you understand that CAD inflation being really cool means, hey, the Bank of Canada is probably going to cut rates soon. Rate cuts, not great for the currency. So probably not the greatest fundamental catalyst to get long on right now. Let's take a look at CAD CHF, as we mentioned that one as well. And so again, remember, this is why we don't try and predict news, even though I am kind of bullish on the Canadian dollar against specific currencies like the Swiss franc. You still have to be careful because, again, if the Bank of Canada is going to cut rates, that's going to be a strong force to reckon with when it comes to trying to spot CAD bullishness. If the Canadian dollar, or if the Bank of Canada is likely to cut rates sooner, the currency is likely to become less valuable. Anyways, guys, I mentioned this just before the event, so let me repeat myself for just a second. If you guys would like to try out the Edge Finder, we just dropped a link to apply for a trial. If you're somebody who would say, you know, this sort of concept, this screener for your trading analysis every single day, like we use on the streams to help spot opportunities, if this would be helpful to you, then make sure to grab a trial. Click this link. It's in the chat right now. If you're watching with me live, and if you're watching back at a later point, I know a lot of people rewatch these live streams when they're uploaded as videos. There will be a link in the description for you to request a trial and get some more information by applying for that. So that will be linked in the description. Let's take a look at everything else here moving this morning. Again, all across the board, very, very cool inflationary numbers, and that's taking some of the wind out of the Canadian Swiss as well as other CAD crosses. Again, the dollar CAD probably looking a little bit stronger here this morning on the reaction of that, bouncing off of this daily chart trend line, and we'll continue to keep an eye on that. Let's speak of the dollar here. Is there any other reaction here to the dollar this morning? Not quite. We'll take a look here at the daily chart. Here's the daily. Again, as I mentioned this earlier, we are sitting just at support. We'll see if support can officially hold here, but the dollar is under some pressure here recently in a price action standpoint. Remember, guys, we do have the FOMC meeting minutes tomorrow. It will be market moving for sure, not just for the dollar, but for everything else, gold, etc. And we will take a look at gold in just a moment. But let me also mention, again, currently gold is getting a neutral reading. So when something gets a neutral reading, what that means is I'll still analyze it for people who are looking at it themselves. But if something's getting a neutral reading, 9 times out of 10, there's no trade for me to take there. So we'll go take a look at gold anyways. Let's just see. So here's gold. We'll switch over. Gold has had a nice bounce back from this level of support, but my issue has been and still is with gold that we are still really stuck in a range, right? We have not been able to, on the daily chart, we've not been able to really make a decisive push. Now, if you're a lower time frame trader, to be fair, there might be something kind of forming here where you're getting this upward trend, this upward momentum, and we could be headed back to retest the upper limits of this level. So you may be, on the lower time frames, trading your way back up to this 2060 level in terms of short-term momentum. That could be something to play. But again, as I mentioned, from a daily chart perspective, from a bigger picture, in order for gold to really break out, we probably need a really weak US dollar, which would come off of the back of weaker economic data, inflation continuing to cool, rate cut expectations increasing, things like that, which we're not quite seeing just yet. So gold for me is a no-go. And then in terms of if we continue to see dollar strength and economic, strength come in for the US dollar, continue to see that, that could break us through the lows. We tried to come down through the lows. We did reject. We found support off of that level. The question will be, which way is this thing going to break? And I've just been waiting on this one. So gold is something that I'm watching, but not very closely because there's just not a lot of setups for me right now. Take a look at the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ, I do have a position on. It's coming back against me here a little bit this morning, but just a little bit better than break even on my trade that I took last week. We're sitting in this NAS long position, bought at support, and I bought it on this candle over here. So about 5 days ago, 5 or 6 trading days ago, we did pick up a position on the NASDAQ on this wick, found the low pretty well, rallied back, but we did kind of put in a short-term lower high. Now, of course, if this rolls over and stops me out, then it'll be easy to say, well, Nick, why didn't you close out after you saw the lower high? Well, the problem is yes, this could be a lower high, but this also could just be a consolidation before a bigger move, right? If you said, hey, there's a lower high, you would have missed this move because look, here's a high, here's a lower high, right? So if you're just looking at that, you might have said, well, okay, sell it. And I mean, like if you had sold it over here saying like, oh, there's a lower high, you missed the next great move, right? Consolidation is normal. So just because you see a lower high does not guarantee that this thing is rolling over, right? I wish it was that easy. The point, however, is that we may just be consolidating and waiting a little bit on the NASDAQ. We do have meeting minutes tomorrow, as I mentioned, which will be very impactful to this chart and to many others. Meeting minutes, again, 2 p.m. Eastern US time. We'll watch that, of course, live together. So make sure to, if you're not already, subscribe to the channel. Make sure to subscribe so that you can come back and watch the live stream with us. In terms of setups here, let's see, S&P 500 is getting a neutral, Kiwi yen, Kiwi dollar, pound dollar. We got to look at the pound really quick, and we need to look at oil as well. So here's the pound US dollar, hovering still at support. I'm sorry, at previous support, now actually technically resistance. So let's do this. Daily chart supply, daily chart supply. So again, consolidation here. We did finally break through this. Price came back up into this range, rejected it, but still just kind of chopping around here. And again, I think the market is really just positioning itself, waiting for that meeting minutes to see if there's any clarification to give us some form of a catalyst to start trending one way or the other. In terms of the pound USD is getting a bullish reading on the edge finder. So technicals and fundamentals here kind of disagreeing, at least in the way that we look at them. We have consolidation here, a breakout, retest. So that would kind of be a bearish looking signal. However, the pound USD is getting a bullish read on the edge finder. Much of that, by the way, is from tracking institutional money. Check this out. So pound USD, look at the COT category. This actually flipped very bullish, +1. And for other pound pairs, it's even stronger, like pound yen. So if we go take a look at the COT data, this is very interesting. So COT data is something that is considered by the edge finder's algorithm. It looks at the data, goes through it itself, and automatically generates bullish and bearish scores for each currency pair and asset. So when we look at this, look at the pound. The pound we talked about yesterday. Pound had a huge net bullish shift. This was a really bullish filing for the pound. We saw an increase in long contracts, and we had a decrease massively in short contracts. So the pound, this is why I'd probably be hesitant to go short on the pound, even though technicals look pretty good. And this is what I was talking about earlier, guys. The power of the edge finder is not always, of course, just generating, perfect signals. It would be nice if it was that easy. But some of the power of the edge finder is when it shows you, hey, this is getting a generally bullish reading, right? Pound USD getting a bullish reading. If you only looked at the chart, you might say, well, this is retesting resistance, right? So I gotta be bearish on this. And while that might work out, the thing is, again, I've had many situations where I look at this and only look at the technicals, and I'm like, okay, it's looking like it's rolling over, just to see the edge finder giving it more of a fundamentally bullish reading. Oftentimes the fundamentals are right. So again, we'll have to see how this one plays out, but that's something that, again, I've seen many, many times with the edge finder. The edge finder gives you a fundamental bias that disagrees with the technicals. For me, what that means is no trade, right? There's nothing that I like there. Maybe, right? And gold will fall down. I don't really have a bias on gold. I don't think it's necessarily going up or down. I don't have a strong bias on it right now. Why? Well, again, the edge finder is giving us a neutral reading, right? My bias is usually generated automatically through our system. If you're trying to be a systematic trader, I'm not pulling thoughts from my head and telling you why I think this is bullish or bearish. I'm using an algorithm, using systematic approaches, right? Most traders do not use any form of system in their trading, and they wonder why they're not making any money. You need to use software. You need to use systems, because guess who you're competing with? You're competing with hedge funds and institutions that are all using systematic approaches, right? They use data, they use market systems. And if you're not using a system in this day and age, I think you're just totally lost, right? You're just totally left behind. So yeah, we'll see. Again, in terms of gold, I know a lot of people are interested in it. I just have no opinion on it right now. I do have a position on silver which is going well. Let's see, I'll show you guys my position on silver. So this is my SLV position. So I'm up 270 bucks on silver, which not bad at all. I'll show you that really quick. Here's SLV. So I picked up a long position on silver at the bottom of this range. I know this chart looks a little choppy. It's because it is the ETF variation of silver. SLV basically is a way to buy silver as a stock ETF, and it makes it super convenient for US traders. So yeah, by the way, if you're in the US and you're wondering how I can trade silver, it's because I use WeBull, and I do have a sign up perk bonus. It should be in the description, and maybe Chandler can drop it for us if he can find the link, but check this out. So with WeBull, the cool thing about WeBull is I can trade directly on TradingView. So you can see I've got my positions loaded into TradingView, so I can watch them here. So I am long through ETF form. I'm long Bitcoin, which is going really, really well. We caught a break to the upside. This has been fantastic. So we're still in Bitcoin. Silver, I've got a position on silver. The dollar, I do have one, which is giving back a lot of its gains here this morning. And then we also have the NASDAQ position. So all of these trades are done directly in TradingView. It is super convenient. If you're liking what you're seeing, if you want to be able to trade directly on WeBull, check out WeBull, click this link, and you can actually sign up and get free shares if you do use it. It is for US, UK, and Singapore, I think they accept. Those are where they accept clients. So it's a US regulated brokerage. That's why I trade with it. Here is the NASDAQ trying to find support. Again, I'm staying in the NASDAQ trade as long as we hold this daily chart level. This is a swing trade for me, so I might be in and I might be taken out if this level does not hold. If this level does not hold, NASDAQ traders, indices traders, my fellow people, what I'm looking for is for this level to hold. If it doesn't hold, my next attempt will probably be around 17,200. And after that, 16,900. So what do I mean by that? Well, if I'm wrong about this attempt, if this doesn't work out, my second attempt will be here. My third attempt will be here. I use a relatively tight stop loss to get, pretty good risk to reward trades. And so if I'm looking at this thing and I'm saying, I want to take this trade, and I recognize that my stop loss is, within a short distance, I also accept that I need to perhaps try more than once to get in the trade. Nick, why do you think dollar falling despite the hot inflation? That's a good question, actually. It's been a little bit of a weird one to me. I think there may just be a technical pullback happening on the dollar. And again, I'm not fazed by this move in the dollar unless it breaks this support decisively. If it breaks this support, I need to get out of the dollar. Simple risk management, prudent risk management just tells me if you're not able to hold this support level, and this is what I use technicals for, guys. People, obviously see on these videos and streams, I'm talking fundamentals primarily. That is what drives the directional bias of my trading. But the technicals play a very key component in risk management, right? You want to copy my trading? Please don't copy anybody's trading blindly. If you don't want to put any work in your trading, let me just be candid with you. You should probably not be trading, period. If you just want to copy people, you really shouldn't be trading, because again, if you just copy, here's the problem with copying. Why not, Nick? Why can't I just copy the trades? You technically could. And if you copied all of my trades since December until now, you'd be up about 4%, which is not amazing. But here's the thing that purely they just don't put any thought. They just copy them. The issue with that is that understand. Sorry, guys. I think my computer is being choppy again. Hold on. Let me fix it. I know what I can do in the meantime. I'm just gonna shut down my screen for a second. Stop screen sharing, and then we'll just go here for a second. Sorry, I don't know what's going on with my computer recently. It's just been struggling to live stream my charts as well as my camera for some reason. I'll come back to the start in just a second. The problem with copying people blindly is that you don't understand what has gone into the blood, sweat, and tears that has gone into profitable trading strategies. And so when that trader that you're copying goes into a drawdown, you just throw up your arms and you say, well, it's a scam, it doesn't work, right? That's why trading is so difficult, is you have to accept that even a great trading strategy will have weeks, maybe months, and perhaps even a year of losses. And that scares people away from trading. That's why people don't make it in trading. They don't accept that drawdown is inevitable, even with profitable strategies. So I don't encourage copying anyone, because again, if you don't understand the workings of a trading strategy, the pros, the cons, the what to expect of a trading strategy, if you don't have that in your approach, you won't make it as a trader. You have to accept the difficulties of trading, just like starting a business, right? If starting a business was easy, wouldn't everybody do it, right? Starting a business, trading, any of that sort of thing that is something very difficult to accomplish is very hard. And there's a reason why people don't make it. The reason people don't make it is it's hard as heck to make it in trading, to make it in business, whatever it is. It's not easy. And so, to make it, you need to understand and accept the ins and outs. That's why I really don't encourage people just blind copying. Okay, hopefully my PC is a little bit more okay now. But yeah, somebody said I need to, CPU probably needs cleaning, Nick. I don't know how to do that, but I probably should. So yeah, I got to do something off stream because I don't know what's been going on. It's been just a little bit choppy on my end the last 2 days. So we'll play around with it a little bit more after stream. But NASDAQ is trying to bounce here a little bit. We'll see how that one plays out. Again, like I said, I do have my position on NAS. That being said, if what I just mentioned about signals, I don't think you should copy anyone. However, that being said, we do offer a service where you can follow along with what we are trading, not copy, but you can see the trades that we're taking, why we're taking them, with full explanations and breakdowns. So let me point this out. So inside of the group, what we do here is all of our trades get shared with full explanations, breakdowns, entries, exits, and most importantly, the analysis behind the trade. So I don't encourage copying. However, if you do want to look over the shoulder of what we are doing, why we're trading, so that you can actually learn something. And if you like trades that we're taking, or if you think that you have a similar view on something, then you may choose to take a trade. But that's not the point of the group. The point of the group is meant to be insightful, educational. If you'd like to see the trades that we are taking in full breakdowns and explanations, and you're still watching the live stream after I just gave a massive harsh warning to copying people, if this group seems like it would be useful to you, here's how you can get involved. We just dropped a link here in the chat. Send my team a direct message here. We'll get you a streamer discount. So if you're watching with us right now live, we'll get you an extra discount if you shoot us a DM using that link we just dropped. It's also at the top of the description if you're watching back at a later time. But send us a DM if you'd like to join the group. You get access to our trade alerts. You also get access to our chat rooms, our coaching webinars, educational library, our strategy library, and so much more. If you're somebody who's serious in this stuff, I'm telling you, this is the group to be in. No nonsense, no BS, no Lambos, no flexing to try and market to you. Genuine trading only, live brokerages. I mean, you see my live brokerage account right now. No nonsense. If you want to join that group, DM us, click the link that just got dropped in the chat. Nick, are you going to add Bitcoin and Ethereum soon to your analysis? I always kind of keep an eye on it, although my position is very, very small. I have been riding this move, and it's been a monster. Again, I bought an ETF that tracks or is intended to track Bitcoin. Here's iBit. It's a new ETF. I'm up $530 on it so far. It is, even though that is a good sized win, it's a small position size. But here's the crazy thing. This thing has gone up since I've bought it. Let's take a look. Percentage wise, it is up 24% since I bought it, which is crazy. Bitcoin is so volatile. Obviously, in hindsight, I wish I made this a ginormous position. I would be, rolling in money right now if I had a huge position on. But this is, risk management 101. This is a very small position in the portfolio. And it was meant to be kind of a longer term swing trade. So if I can ride this one back to all-time highs, then great. I'll probably make a couple $1,000s on that move, which would be amazing. So we'll see. But in terms of analysis, The reason it's such a small position size for me in terms of Bitcoin is because I see this thing as simply a risk vehicle. If you think the markets are going to be in a better place, they're going to look optimistic, things are going to be good, Bitcoin could go well. But if things look bad, if inflation ticks higher again, if the Fed starts raising rates, any of that sort of story comes back in, Bitcoin will dump so hard, right? It will go crashing lower in that scenario. So I don't have a huge conviction on Bitcoin as compared to the position sizing that I'll do on something like gold or the NASDAQ or S&P or US dollar, right? Those things I understand a lot better. I feel that I have a much more, thoughtful approach to trading them. So Bitcoin is a very, very small position in the account. What's going on with euro dollar, Nick? Let's take a look. Euro dollar pushed higher here this morning. I don't actually know why the dollar is so weak here this morning, but it definitely is pulling back. Take a look at the dollar index real quick. And again, as I mentioned earlier, the dollar index is sitting at support. If we don't get a reaction here, that would actually be a little bit short-term concerning to me, and I might actually end up closing out of some dollar long positions. As I mentioned, I have a dollar position open still. But here's the thing. We're sitting at support. If this level doesn't hold, that's going to be my trigger to go ahead and get out. So I'm watching the dollar index here. What's your thoughts going long on euro dollar? I don't really like the long side. Now, again, it could continue to push higher. I'm not saying that it can't, but I don't like the fundamental story long on the euro at this time. The US economy is still very strong. Inflation has been sticky in the US. Inflation is much more tame in Europe, which would suggest potentially that the ECB may look to cut rates sooner than the Federal Reserve. If that happens, you have a very interesting story on your hands. Let me show you some of that data. Well, I can't because something's going on with the Edge Finder. We may be doing some maintenance on this page. However, inflation data, we showed it yesterday. You might have seen it if you're watching with us yesterday. Inflation in the US is still hotter than in Europe. And so when you get that inflation, there it is, the inflation data, when comparing different places, inflation is key to understanding when a central bank may cut rates. So let's take a look at Europe and let's look at the US. Okay, so guys, US is in blue, Europe is in this greenish color, okay? So both have come down, but look at where we're at. At one point, inflation was hotter in Europe than it was in the US. But now what's happened is that the US inflation has become higher than the ECB or the European inflation level. So what that may suggest to us, as if you're a currency trader watching the Euro USD, is that the ECB may look to cut rates sooner as their inflation is slightly more tame, under 3%, as compared to the US, right? Europe inflation is around 2.8. The US is at 3.1. Once you understand fundamentally how important that is, if inflation is continuing to trickle lower in Europe, but staying sticky in the US, you have a very strong currency pair trend that could develop in terms of a bearish move on the euro dollar, right? So that's what we're watching for in terms of the currency trade wars. Is it's all about the central banks and who's going to cut rates first. So my bias would be more in line with currently being strong on the dollar and weak on the euro. So I actually would look at this as a possible pullback on the euro USD personally, though from a technical perspective, this is kind of a bullish push and I wouldn't short it just outright. I'll look for an opportunity, and if I take that trade, I'll share it in the signals group. So if you guys are in the signals group, look out for that. I'll be watching euro dollar to take potentially a trade, but I will let you know when I take that position if I can spot a good setup. So yeah. And again, just in case you missed it, we'll drop the link one more time. If you'd like to join the VIP group, if you'd like some information, and if you'd like a subscriber discount, people who are watching with us live, DM us, let us know that you saw me mention this, and we'll get you a discount on the VIP group. You can come join us real low price if you DM us right now, because the reason I would like to get you in there today is because tomorrow we have meeting minutes. Tomorrow is the key figure tomorrow. If there's going to be money to be made in the markets this week, it's probably going to be tomorrow, because tomorrow we'll probably see the most volatility. We love volatility on this channel, by the way. We also love news. We trade news constantly. I'm not talking about trading the spike, but we use news to trade all the time. Just like we're looking at this chart right now, that's how we build biases. We don't build biases just looking at support and resistance. We build biases based on economic data that's driving the market higher or lower, and understanding that is the key to really getting it right when it comes to trying to master trends in the markets. So again, we mentioned it a moment ago, but if you'd like to join us, this is your last call. Send us a DM. Come join the VIP group ahead of tomorrow. We'll have a big day tomorrow for trading, I'm sure, as the meeting minutes could give us some solid confirmations, bullish or bearish, on various markets that we're watching. That's going to wrap it up here for me here today. Thank you very much for tuning into today's live stream, and we'll have a video out later here for you covering latest setups, preparing us for the meeting minutes tomorrow. Thanks, guys, for watching. Have a great day.
Thanks again for watching today's show. Our goal at A1 Trading is to continue to share free value to our audience through daily videos and articles, keeping you up to date with the latest market coverage. If you enjoy our content, make sure to subscribe for more. From all of us at A1 Trading, have a great day, and we'll see you next time.